don't know what the problem is. I don't know. Hello. Welcome to the Rebirthing channel. Or welcome to the new way of being. And I apologize. I'm trying to get the lighting right. It used to work and now it won't. It's like weird. That's spooky. I don't know what the issue is, but anyways, we're gonna leave it. I don't understand why the lighting has been really weirdly. That started yesterday, so we'll work on. I think I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. So it's been 2 weeks, and I really just want to talk about what the hell has happened in 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks have been intense, and intense in a level that is hard for me to even explain. What we are all going through right now, of course, is going to be personal to you. So my experience is not necessarily going to be your experience. But starting the solstice, so the solstice weekend, I started to have just this compulsion to take certain classes, to not really classes, but to get certain upgrades, to access that. And then on the solstice night, I closed my eyes and I could see myself. I don't remember what I was doing. I could see myself in this white feathery jacket with dark hair. And she was standing there in front of a Learjet. And Metatron was standing there with me. And he said to me, "It's time for you to get on." And I wasn't meditating. I was like literally trying to go to sleep. And it was just there in my vision behind the screen, if you will. And I looked at Metatron and I was like, "What do you mean get on?" And he's like, "It's time for you to go." And I had some stuff I had to work on because it wasn't something that I expected. It wasn't anything I was asking to receive. It was just something that happened that day. And eventually, after I worked through some stuff, I did get on that airplane. I saw myself step up the first couple of stairs. I got on this Learjet and I sat at a booth and they served me food and drink, water. It wasn't even anything I don't normally drink, so that's normal for me. And I was still really confused. I was like, I don't understand why. What does this mean? And the plane took off, and I, sitting there like, okay. And the pilot came on the speaker. And he welcomed me, and he knew my name. He had a lot of excitement in his voice, even though I was still very confused as to what was happening. And he said that we have to make 4 other stops, and then we will go on to our destination. And I was like, okay. So then they stopped at the next one. They picked up a woman. I can kind of still make her out. I've never seen her before. She got on the plane. She was so excited, so different than what I was, because I was not aware that this was going to happen. And she got on the plane and she was all excited. The crew came out and they introduced us both. And then the crew introduced, there were archangels and ascended masters, and they were all on this plane. And this is just as I'm falling asleep. So, of course, I fell asleep at some point, and I just kind of went with it. not knowing where it was going to lead me, but knowing that my guides that I work with were on that airplane, Metatron, Jesus, Goddess Mont, Goddess Isis, Thoth, they were all there. And I woke up in the morning thinking, what was that? Like, what was that? So the following night, on Sunday, I think it was Sunday, I fell asleep again. And this time I could see myself on a beach. I was in, the waves were coming in. And my spirit animal was there with me, which is the tiger. I am a Leo, and of course, Leos are tied to lions, but at my heart, tigers have always spoken to me. When I look in their eyes, there's just something about that is uncanny. It feels like home to me in the tiger's eyes. So when the tiger was there on the beach with me, I thought, oh, this is interesting. And he said to me, he goes, do you remember the first awakening you had? And I said, yes. He goes, I was there. I was the one who took you to your next step. And that's a story for maybe another time where he sat face to face and he touched my third eye. And the last 7 or 8 years has been from that point. So for this tiger to be there, I knew this was a big deal beyond the fact that I was on this Lear jet the night before. And he said to me, you will now start a 7-day journey into the underworld. Now, I do a lot of stuff with the Egyptian pantheon, so I understand what that means. And it's part of the rebirthing process to really let go of the deepest shit you can possibly imagine. I mean, I had stuff come up the last week that I can't even tell you. I don't remember it, which I always say is a good thing because that means it's gone. And he said to me, the sun will set tonight and the sun will rise again in 1 week. So that was this past Saturday, which is why I didn't do the YouTube live, because I found myself very, hi, Michelle, very like in between worlds. I would wake up one day and everything would be okay. And then an hour or two later, I'm in tears. I cried more last week than I think I've cried in a long time. Just releasing such deep, deep, deep things, a lot around Jesus timelines, a lot around Egyptian timelines, Atlantis, everywhere. And I had to dive into myself to really work through the stuff that I, even to this point, was not willing to look at. And then this underworld energy, I was being like, I would move through one and then I would move through another. They'd give me a break from time to time, but then I'd go again and then I'd go again. And in this week, I was guided to do it doesn't really exist anymore, but Amanda Ellis had a second level of her level 1 Metatron course, which I had taken in November of 2019. And I was guided to start that again. So I had started that the week, and then I started to see this lion on the beach, and I would float in the water. I had to become one with the water. So I sat on the beach and I meditated with the water and worked with the water. Water's about flow and letting things go and washing things away and becoming water. And I was swimming in the ocean with the dolphins and the whales, and they were playing with me. And then when I finished that, the lion said to me, okay, now it's time to go beyond the ocean. It's time to go to the edge. And this is where I had the biggest problem. I could see that there were other people on the beach besides, I could sense them. The 5 that I was on that Learjet were there with me, but there were hundreds of other people on this beach working with their spirit animal through whatever it is that they needed to in order to go through this 7-day window. So I swam with and it was just this freeing. It felt so free and so beautiful after I worked through whatever it was that I had between me and water. And then I would get to the edge and I would hear, you have to step over the edge. And I fought that so much, a lot of fear about what I would let go of, who I would leave behind, what that would look like, all the things I work for and then have to let go. It took me 2 days to get through that. And every time I'd get to the edge, something else would come up and I'd be like, oh, come on, you know? And I could see that bridge between where I was and where I'm going. And I could see the people on the other side that had already gotten there. And this is the epitome of journey to the unknown. Because even though I could see the people on the other side, I couldn't see anything else. Like I couldn't see what was beyond that. And it was just this knowing that if once I stepped over, like Pandora's box, like once you step over, you can't come back. You know, once you see what you see, it won't be unseen. It was that energy. And I worked through it. I worked with Metatron. I worked with Jesus. I worked with many guides of trying to get me through this. There were days I just sat in the ocean and let the ocean just wash over me. Obviously, not actually at the beach, but in meditation, it would just wash over me and I would just cry. Lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of stuff just coming up to be released. It was preventing me from going beyond the edge. Hello, Elaine. And we're all going, this is part of the rebirth process. Think of it like if you've ever had children or your wife had children, when the baby enters that canal, that's that space, that edge. Just before the baby's head comes out of the womb, it's the edge. That's what they're saying. This is like I was being asked to go beyond the world that I knew now into this new world. But I had to step over the edge consciously. No one's going to take you over the edge. No one's going to push you over the edge. No one's going to drag you across the edge. You have to make a conscious choice to go over the edge. Now, however your higher self is working with you on this, trust it. I share it with you so that you can kind of understand what is what has been happening for the last 2 weeks. And remember, where you go through this may not be this month. It may not be in the last 30 days. You may go through in 6 months from now. It just depends on your divine timing and when your soul agreed to go through it. But we will all go through this. Even the ones where you think they'll never go through this, they will. But we have to go first. We have to be the leaders. We have to be the ones that show them what will happen when they do. In other words, how good life can be if you're willing to let go of the old. So I eventually did go over the edge. And again, I don't remember exactly what I worked through in order to get that. And it doesn't really matter because it's going to be different for you versus me. I had a lot of guilt. Oh my goodness. I didn't even realize I had this much guilt. And I don't remember how it came up. I cried for days the amount of guilt I had that was trapped in my body. And I've been doing theta healing and a version of it that I call higher self illumination for 8 years. I had guilt to the moon and back. And I had to work through why I felt guilty. And these were deep, deep, deep wounds. Jesus' timeline was in there, how I felt guilty for his death. Like somehow I was the cause of it. I had stuff back in Atlantis about somehow feeling guilty about the fall and feeling like maybe I could have done more. There's, that's all in there somewhere. And then eventually I stepped over the edge. And when I stepped over the edge, I went over this beautiful bridge that was like sparkling. It was like a disco ball. It was like crazy. And I went over this bridge, and on the other side, I got in this elevator that shot me up to the sky. And I got off, and it was just green everywhere. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Come back to the beach. The tiger's like, you ready for the next step? I'm like, sure. This is over a 7-week period, 7-day period. But every day was more and more and more and more. And he said, see that star out there? connect to it with your heart. And when I connected to it with the heart, I started to work with some of the star beings that I am connected to, have been connected to in the past. And they started to teach me how to do other healing work for myself that I'm supposed to bring back. I don't remember what it was. I did write it down, which is a good thing. But they were teaching me about, I know what it was, about manifesting. And they said to me, you earthlings like to focus on manifesting, but you do it wrong. And he pointed at me and he said, or the being said, I wrote it down. He said, what you create with this, or what you think with this, cannot be created out here. It must be created in here. So many of us, when we think about what we want to manifest, it's in here. We think about what it's going to look like. We think about what color it is, who's there, all of that. But we don't ask from our heart. And the heart is the emotional piece, but it's more than that. You co-create with source, and that's where that lives. And I wish I could remember exactly the saying they said. I wrote it down, but I'm not. But it was perfect, on point what they said. And I just like, But they started to teach me how I could do manifesting in a far easier way. So this is what's been happening for the last 7 days. And it's been intense. I took that time last week because I was like, I know I need to meditate, and I needed to honor that. I'm changing. The person I was 2 weeks ago, even yesterday, which I'll talk about in a minute, doesn't exist anymore. She's gone. And I'll explain more of why that is in a moment. And it's all lined up exactly. And I didn't even realize how evenly it was lined up, because Easter is Sunday, which is rebirth energy. So these last 2 weeks, or even actually for me, 3/3, which was that when I originally got that dream, I've been working to this rebirth energy. And so Saturday, I'm like, okay, I'm almost done with this week. I'm almost there. And then, the sun will rise. They told me the sun would rise on the beach when I was done. Now, if you work with the Egyptian pantheon, with the Sphinx watches the sun set and then the sun rise. And that's how they saw each day as a new year, a new beginning. Not like us, where we think it's only a new beginning on January 1st. They had a Zep Tepi moment, which is what they call a new beginning, every day. So I was in this dark beach, which is the underworld, for 7 days. And then the sun was supposed to rise on that 7th day. I did get stuck there, and I had to do some work to get myself out. It has risen. And then on Saturday, I started to see this Facebook post about some summit. And I was like, and it just kept coming and coming and coming. And I just said, fine, whatever, I'll freaking do it. Now, this was a big deal because it was in Bali. So it's an online retreat from Bali, and they're 12 hours ahead. So the retreat was 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. PST, which is Pacific time. So every night, Sunday through yesterday, I was online with this group from 7 p.m. to usually about 2 o'clock in the morning. And it was like these people were speaking my language. Like the things that they were saying were exactly what I had been teaching. And it felt so much like I had found people who not only I could connect to, that like my next level of teachers. That's exactly what it felt like. And so I moved through these days, and they had these really great speakers who taught us how to connect to the awareness outside of ourselves, and how we could do that consciously, and how we could train our body to always be in alignment with that awareness without having to meditate, with just using breath. There was a lot of stuff around breath. Oh, it was crazy amazing. But then last night, the woman who ran it, she did this whole 2-3 hour integration and download where we cleared all the chakras, we cleared the body of all kinds of stuff. And then she did this upgrade of the human DNA to go with New Earth. And intense was not the word. I had a major breakthrough. Tears, part of it was to open ourselves to divine grace and receive it from the heavens. The tears, the crying, feeling separate from that for so long, but knowing now that I can connect to it consciously. And the thing that was happening as we went through these, there were 3 meditations we went through. The first one was allowing the body just to move with the energy, to allow us to experience that our physical vessel is just that, and allow the energy to just move our bodies and allow ourselves to feel somewhat separate from our bodies. It was a very interesting experience, but it was awesome. And then she did a thing where we would open ourselves to divine grace, and I resisted it. Man, did I resist it. Now, I understand why it's so important to receive this. This is like they're saying it's the divine highway. And the blocking. And then we would fall to our knees and we would send the divine grace into Mother Earth. And the second one, I just broke down. The tears. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm trying not to make a lot of noise because my husband is totally not into this. And I didn't want him to come running to figure out what the frick I was doing. And as I put it into the earth, I could feel my body moving. And something was happening that I never expected. If my husband wasn't home and it wasn't 1 o'clock in the morning, I would have freaking roared like a tiger. That's exactly what was starting to happen. I could see myself almost becoming the energy of the tiger. It was so crazy. And then she did this upgrade where she was channeling and calling in. It was amazing. My husband comes to, say goodnight at 2:30 in the morning, which is when this finally finishes. And he looks at me and goes, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "Nothing." I was so blissed out. I was just like, nothing could even do anything to me. I was totally out of it. And I said, "I'm blissed out." He goes, "I don't know what that means." And I couldn't even move. Like I was walking and my right side of my body was like dead. Not dead, but it was just not even functional. I couldn't walk straight. I felt uneven. And today, I have this energy in my head, and it is working through my head still. So now I have a 7-day integration period to go through. And today I was driving, went to West Hartford, and I could feel, I've talked about this before, where I thought my higher self was looking through my eyes, and it stayed. But because I had done this meditation earlier in the week with this woman who taught us how to connect to this greater awareness when we're conscious, I recognize that this energy that I'm feeling in my eyes is that consciousness. And that consciousness is looking through my eyes. I feel like I'm looking, not actually seeing through my eyes anymore, but through my third eye. And it feels like my eyes are closing when I do it. And they're like, no, they're open. It's because it's a different energy. So this is what we're all going through. And it will build, for me, it's building into Sunday. Yeah, a lot of religions have that. I don't remember that Roman Catholic that they taught us that. So it was new. But I'm not surprised because there's a lot of history between Egypt and Judaism. So we know a lot of religions co-opted rituals or ways of being from other religions. So that doesn't surprise me. So the rebirth energy is here. It's literally waiting for you. And, last time I I did a live. The last two cards I chose out of the higher dimensional deck were two cards. It was, and I don't remember exactly what they were. One was fighting negativity, blocks, fear, and then the other one was illumination, expect miracles, transformation, positivity. And the cards were so far from one another. In this portal that we're in, because that's really what this is, we're at a point now where we can jump timelines in a way that the timelines that are available now have not been available before. And there's always new ones being created. But right now we have the opportunity to jump so high. And that's that edge. It is challenging. This stuff coming up is the deepest shit. Excuse my language. It is the stuff that we have carried for lifetimes that has been like daggers in our backs. And a lot of it is not stuff that's been done to us. It's the stuff that we can't admit about ourselves. My guilt, shame, anger, feeling like you hadn't done enough when maybe someone was hurt. It's potent. You have never, none of us, there's no one on earth who has ever been through this process other than through real death and rebirth. That's how it used to be done. Like we had to actually physically die and come back for a new iteration of ourselves. And in this lifetime that you've chosen to be in, you get the chance to rebirth yourself. But you got a choice. And this is what I was getting at with the cards. For a long time, we've been able to straddle both worlds. We've been able to be in the fight. We've been able to focus our energy on the things that we think are wrong in the world and whatever. But then still work on ourselves and trailblaze. They're saying trailblaze to the next wherever. You will not be able to do that anymore. This rebirth requires you to make a choice. You're either in or you're out. And I'm not saying that to scare people. It's where you are. It's where we are. People are posting pictures about the new earth splitting. Well, I don't know how this is going to work. I'll be honest. I definitely didn't see the last 2 weeks coming, so who the hell knows? But you can't be in two places anymore. Before they were blurred. So you had the new and the old together, and they're coming apart. And while you can talk about new earth, this is you. You are all this work that you've done for however many years you've been on this spiritual path is creating this new you. But it's been blended with the old. And in this process, what's happening is you're having to unlock to allow the separation to happen, which means you have to let go of the old. And that's scary. I'll be honest, it's freaking scary because we don't know what this looks like. Remember, every other time we've ever done this, we were birthed into a family who then took care of us for 18 years. And we had time to figure out how to walk, how to talk, how to exist in the timeline we were birthed in. We're not going to get that this time. Like literally, we're going to wake up, be like, what? Could the process contribute to this process to death? But 50-year-old, because so I don't really know the answer to that question. I know that there's always death doors. We get multiple death doors. People think we only, it's all planned out. Well, we get a chance to, go here, go there. So, those people, if they're not willing to work through the anger, they may choose to go. this energy that we are in is very heart expansive. I mean, remember, we're moving from the analytical, logical, hamster wheel, monkey mind craziness to heart. So, and even if they're not awake, which I hate that word because we're all some semblance of awake, there's no one who is not. It's just exactly where they're supposed to be, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone is going through this, and it's going to bring up stuff that's stuck here in your heart, in your lungs. It's all in that same area. And if you have a hard time dealing with anger, whether it's at someone else or with yourself, then it could be a big deal and it could cause issues. I mean, I know from my own healing journey, a lot of the issues I had were emotional and they were just manifesting in my body as physical symptoms. So sure, but there's no really way to know, they may not have wanted to go to this new, maybe it's too scary. I mean, honestly, journeying to the unknown is freaking scary. I mean, I'm over it. I'm just like, let's freaking do this. Like, I'm tired. I know that the work will go on. It's not like we're not going to still have work, but like, let's get over this hump so I can go to the next phase, like, let's move on. So this divine grace that was coming in the other day was just amazing. It felt like, bliss, total bliss. And I totally blocking it. But this is part of what's coming in, the Christ consciousness with the weekends. However this is working for you, you got to embrace it. Running away from it's only going to prolong it. This is what your soul signed up for. Like it or not, like your soul signed up for this. And your soul has a process, your higher self has a process that it knows for you to get through it. But you have to go all in. And yes, we have lives. We have jobs to go to, children, husbands, wives, whatever it is, right? So you just have to ask for them to be like, okay, can you show me how to fit this in so that I can do both? I know last week I spent a lot of time in meditation working through this stuff. Okay, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Pain here, pain there. Okay, what's going on? And I spent a lot of time in meditation, probably more than I normally do. And then this week with this 4-day summit that I did, I've been so busy the last 3 days, I haven't even had time to even really think about what the hell just happened to me and with clients and everything else. So it's just, and I know they do that on purpose. So usually what happens when I go through a really large leap, they will make me super busy. And you think, why? You need processing time. Like, what the hell? But that means I have no time to watch news, be on social media, to do anything. Like, I'm literally just focused on doing the summit, my clients. And everything else is usually sleep if I get a chance. So you got to honor the process. This process is I don't want to say it's hard, but you can make it hard if you're not willing to go all in. Are you willing to see where this really leads you? We've been promised through, the cards I've drawn and the stuff that I have seen through my own visions, that we've promised that we will receive something much greater than we can even imagine. But you got to come all in. Like they're showing me like a game board, looks like Candyland. They're like, you have to put I think they were pieces of candy or gingerbread. I haven't played that yet. You have to consciously choose to actually put your piece on the new game board. No one can do it for you. No one's going to put it there for you. No one's going to make that choice for you. You have to consciously choose. It is your free will. While your higher self exists on divine will, he or she wants this. But in a conscious physical vessel, you get to choose. And you have to make that choice. Before this, I connected to that same energy again, and I invited it in and said, I'm ready. Show me. Michelle, with fears, they can interweb one another. So you could have, let's say, 5 fears, and even though they don't seem like it, they could be all tied to the same thing. So that I would muscle test with a pendulum or whatever, which is the fear which of the fears that you list would give you the most bang for your buck? Meaning, if I clear this one, it will clear the other 8. Does that make sense? That's one of the things that they teach in theta healing, is that every fear has a root belief. So you're looking for the root fear or belief, right? But all the other, so it's a tree, right? So you get this trunk and then branches and branches off the branches, and you can have all these different fears in the branches, but there's only really one fear at the bottom. And if you can figure out what the fear is at the bottom, then you can pull that fear and the whole tree comes down. So use muscle testing and ask, which of these is the starting point? And start there and then see if the others go when you clear it. They're like, we're asking you to quicken the process. I'm seeing like a dump truck, like they're like dumping it on my front lawn of all the stuff that I still have. I'm hoping I don't still have, that we all have to work through still. And the thing is, they're saying is like, you don't have to have it all done by rebirth, but you have to be committed to it. Remember, anytime we have a portal of rebirth or a portal of anywhere, there's always a build in and a build out. So we'll hit that rebirth energy this weekend, and then we're going to have at least a week, if not 2 weeks, to pick up the pieces, if you will. And we have to allow that time. It could, Michelle, it could be in childhood. It could also be past life. Remember, your higher self is clearing the vessel, if you will, to be able to be within. And she may have some really crappy stuff that has happened to her in other lifetimes. Remember, we're rebirthing her. So her fears, which are her traumas, right, from other lifetimes, she wants to clear those so she doesn't have to live those. So an example is I had really a lot of guilt around the fact that I thought I caused Jesus' death. And that wasn't guilt from this time. I've had many fears of being hunted. That was not something from this lifetime. So that's another thing you can do with the pendulum. You can ask, is this from this lifetime or is it from another lifetime? Pendulum's a great thing. And we have to remember that we aren't just this life. We are every life we've ever lived. But they're saying a small wedge of every life we've lived, right? So, but this higher self is coming in with a new mission and a new purpose and new gifts and a new remembering of who we really are. And this new being is an upgrade. What that upgrade really looks like, nobody's going to know until we really get in there. But even for me, like I've noticed things that I haven't touched in over a year, like theta healing. I'm starting to teach it online. That was not something that I thought I was going to come back to, but I got clearly last week, you have to go back to teaching. And why? It's because it brings my higher self joy. She loves teaching people that they can change anything in a snap. All their beliefs, their whole reality can shift with theta healing. And she just is like, I want to teach people that their divinity is within them and within their control. So you got to be open to this stuff. Again, I never thought that was going to happen. I know there's a retreat coming, connecting to the divine goddess in nature. That's coming. It's all this stuff is just swirling. And you got to embrace it. some of the stuff I was doing before, I asked and she's like, no, I don't really want to do that. So I gotta let that stuff go. And it's causing a shift. And depending on what your soul's timeline is, some of us may have months to do this. I seem to only have, it's 3/3 to 4/3, which is a month, which I didn't really understand, 30 days, right? So, you have to be able to be willing to move through this energy. You can't come and be like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Show me what to do. Show me what to do. You have to be involved. You have to be, okay, I'm open. See the difference? Not here. Like, okay, I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll do that. And that, and not be in the game. You have to be open. Allow it to expand. We're moving into this energy of, and I've talked about this before, where instead of this doing, where we never get anywhere, we're moving into the energy of play and creativity. That's the feminine. That's her that's trying to move through us. And through play and creativity, we just have to allow the ideas to come in and just play with them. Maybe it amounts to something, maybe it doesn't. Instead of putting that, minute, like this retreat that I got. I've never ran a retreat ever in my entire life. And maybe I've thought about it once or twice, but instead of me going, oh my God, I can't do that. Like, why would anybody even come to that? Like, I could never, I don't even walk in the woods that often. Like, you could totally go there. And I just went, okay, show me. And I just sat there and I wrote it all out. And I was like, oh my God, that's freaking awesome. And I can't wait to be able to have the time to actually put that together. And to be able to share it with people so that they can see like what wants to come through and what assistance wants to come through in that event. And I embraced it. And this is what we're being asked to do. The things that are coming through now are the things that your higher self wants to do. Not necessarily the stuff that you want to do. Your higher self doesn't live in a comfort zone. She doesn't like to live in a 4-room box. She likes to bust down walls and figure out how far she can go, how big she can go, how adventurous she could be, how, if she did a little bit of this, what would it look like? That's where we're going. And some of us, including myself, had a really hard time with that, to allow myself to be in that energy of like, yeah, that's great, but I got to do some work. Like, I need to do some work. I can't do that anymore. Because I know when I do that, I will shut off this beautiful energy that I have flowing through me now. And I want to play. I want to experience life from that. We lived on this planet at one point way back when, where that's how we lived. Through play and discovery. That's how our soul evolved, through play and creativity instead of the crap thing like sacrifice and suffering. That's how we learn now. If you had a choice, what would you choose? Would you rather really, 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 really think about it? Would you rather learn through sacrifice and suffering or play and discovery? I'm going to guess most of you are probably picking B, right? Because who the hell wants that? We're getting a choice to walk away from that. But you got to go all in on the play. Magic is an amazing thing, and it's about creativity and play. And one of the things that this woman talked about on this summit is she's like, make life a game. And it was very interesting to me because she's like, Spirit would give her something. She's like, okay, I'll play with that. I'm game. I'll play with that. Meaning there's no expectations. There's no stress. It becomes what it is because we just allow ourselves to be in the energy of flow instead of us trying to push it to get, oh my God, if I do this online retreat, I need to have this many people in it. I need to have it here. I need to have purple seats and I need to have, goodie bag and all this other stuff. She goes, no. I let it go. I let the universe say, I go, I'm in. I'm in. I'll play. Now show me. And everything just appears because she's in the moment and your spirit guides are just moving everything together and it all just happens. And I can't tell you that how big a revelation that was to me this week. I was like, oh my God, like I've been doing it wrong. Very, very wrong. And I didn't. So I'm excited about the idea of just playing with the energy and just being in the energy. Today I was supposed to get my hair cut, which I thought was an amazing thing. Get my hair cut today. I feel renewed. And well, that didn't turn out because obviously my hair is exactly the same as it was last time you guys saw me. And I was like, why did you have me drive to West Hartford? Like, what was the purpose of that? And they're like, we just wanted you to be and to see if you were really willing to follow the breadcrumbs, to just be in the moment and not have somewhere to go. Like if we took you away from your environment, what would you do? Would you get nervous? Like, oh my God, I just wasted time driving all the way up here. And I did have a little bit of that. And they're like, stop. You came here for a reason. So I went to like 3 stores. Every single one of them rang up to either 777 or 555. And I was like, okay, got it. I got it. I need to just be okay with being here. I have to be okay with the fact that I was led to buy things that I hadn't thought I was going to buy or even felt like I needed. But the dollar amount that showed up on the cash register, I was like, okay, I got it. Yes. I haven't done anything with my hair, honestly, which is very interesting. The lighting is different. The camera on my computer is having issues. I don't know what's going on. So I don't have the normal lighting on. So that's probably where my hair looks different. It could have also changed through this thing. It does appear to be redder somehow. I have not done anything. But I need it to be shorter because like it gets stuck in my zipper and my jacket and my higher self keeps saying, it's too long. I'm like, okay, got it. It could be that my energy is different. So I've been on this summit online for 4 days. And last night, the energy, the camera wouldn't focus on me. It was weird. And then today I'm having the same problem. So it could very well be that my energy's changed. But I'll figure it out, right? At least the video camera is working. So, our physical bodies are going to change. And this is the other thing. Like we think that we're just going to mentally or spiritually change, but our physical bodies are going to change. This woman who I did the summit with, she's got to be in her 50s. She looked like she could have been 30 years old. I mean, she's got 2 boys who are like 20 years old. I mean, it isn't, So because we're in the evolution process through rebirth, we are renewing ourselves. So you got to honor the physical body. The things that have happened in the last week for me physically, a lot of purging from the second chakra, lots and lots of purging from the second chakra. Hungry. Even though I hadn't exercised and I sat in front of this camera for 4 or 5 hours a night, I was up and moving, and you're burning off so much calories. Your body needs more calories potentially right now as it builds this new body, this new framework they're saying that our higher selves are going to live in. So you have to listen to the body. Sometimes it's going to need more sleep, maybe less sleep. I've had both. You may feel different sensations in your body starting Sunday night or maybe Monday. I'm not sure. I feel like I have more so on my left, and I'm starting to feel on my right, which is starting to get me to believe that it's actually a good thing, but it feels really weird. I feel like I have eyes or holes on the bottoms of my feet, and I can feel what feels like a a rod. Think of like a light rod that goes down my right leg and out the bottom of my foot. And of course, I'm talking about it right now, so it's like ding, and I'm starting to feel it on my left side. And those are, they're saying, grounding rods of this new energy that your higher self grounds into earth with. So for whatever reason, my left side seemed to be like, good, let's go. My left side is still working through. So just honor those. You may have weird sensations in your body. Obviously, if you think something's wrong, go see a doctor. But this was, or intuitively just sense. You just got to be careful. If you're hungry, eat more. If your body wants, let's say, different foods, that's okay too, because I think your taste buds may actually change through this, because your higher self may not actually like some of the things you do, or maybe like things that you didn't like. So just, if you feel like you're craving something that you're like, I don't know why I want that, because that's not really something that I eat it, because your higher self may be actually craving the taste or feeling of energy of whatever that food is. Now, she said right away, she goes, the problem is the food that you have now is not the food I've experienced in other lifetimes that she's been. So say like ancient Egypt, like they don't have the same food as what we have here, and just from a cultural thing, right? So you just have to be aware of that. And I have eaten some things over the last week. I'm like, gee, this doesn't really taste good. And it's something that I love. And I just heard, because your taste buds aren't the same. So you just got to work through that. One of the other things is my eyes have been having, some days are really good. I can see like super clear. And then after today with the whole eye thing, it was very blurry. So, and there's a lot of shifting that's happening between the third eye and the physical eyes. So it can be very normal for you to have eyesight that's wonky one day and then clear the next day. It's just because there's a lot of recalibration happening in our eyes. So one of the things that I want you to do, Elaine, knowing what's happening and knowing you with the feminine, I want you to stand up. You don't have to do this right now. You can do this later. And I want you to just do this with that hand. And think of it like you're tossing off the energy that's stuck in there. Let your wrist pop. Let your whatever cracking, everything, that's just energy release, and move it around. So last night I did that with this hand. Now, of course, this hand is the one I broke, I burned, and it hurt to do this. And now it doesn't bother me. And I'll get the energy flowing. I was like, anything else? I'm like, you did good. I'm like, okay. And as many people want to talk about New Earth, there's something that they want to rephrase around that, because many people are talking about being a split between 3D and 5D. There's two things. One, through rebirth, your energy will be 5D, but your vessel will still live in 3D. So we're still going to have that until there's, I don't know, when the full transformation has happened, which I think is in the 2030 range. But we are the new earth. Yeah, it's not. I'll give you something in a moment. So many people are waiting for this new earth thing to happen. When new earth happens, I'm going to have abundance and I'm going to have success and love and peace and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, no, that's you. We make up new earth. We are the channelers for earth. We are her antennas. When we upgrade, we help her upgrade. It doesn't work backwards. We are the activators for new earth, which means as we birth, we help her birth. They're saying it's not the other way. People think that new earth is going to happen, and then magically I'm just going to be all, ooh, rainbows and unicorns. And they're like, no, you have to do the work. You can't just you can't hitchhike on a plane, they're saying. You can't hitchhike on a car. Like, can I come with you? Like, you have to actually do the work. And when you rebirth yourself, you get access to new earth, which is already here and has been here for years. It's just that our frequencies, our physical frequencies as human beings, is not high enough to see it. You'll get glimpses from time to time. And this is that process we're going through so that we can see a whole new world. Remember, we perceive the world through our eyes, based on our programming, based on the frequency that we hold. That's what we see out here. That's what we hear out here. That's what we feel. So new earth could happen tomorrow, but if you can't perceive it, if you can't hear it, if you can't feel it or know it, it ain't gonna matter. Because you have to match its frequency. And just because you're here on earth now, that's not enough. You came to help her. She asked you to come back to help her. Each of us are being gifted to bring heaven to earth. Heaven's not coming to earth on its own. We are the bridge. We are the antenna that brings heaven down into earth. And while there are people that will maybe go there in 10 years, there are some of us are called now to be that, so that we can live from that space to provide the candy for those that are dead set against change, to see why they should. And you don't do that by, saying you have to change, you have to change, you have to change, you have to change, you did that, you have to do this, you have to do that. You just be you. I was getting cards about leadership and I know I'm supposed to have a bigger role, and that's all coming. But you know where it starts? We have to lead ourselves. So many of us are looking for other people to lead us. I was looking for a teacher for the next level, not to lead me. It was to help me remember who the hell I've been. And I know that I've been some people in some lives, and I need to own some of that. And I always say it's not about learning, it's about remembering who we are. Books help us remember who we are. It's like activation points, videos, movies, teachers, whatever it is. And I was looking for that next iteration so I could be able to go my next level. But that's not because it's like, well, I don't have to do the work. She's going to do the work for me. No. We have to be willing to do the work. The work doesn't have to be hard. People do make it hard, but it doesn't have to be hard. So when you hear people talk about new earth, I want you to say to yourself, I am new earth. And the minute you say that, you connect to the energy of new earth. Because you're not separate from it. You're not separate from anything. Everything is connected. Everything's energy. We're all connected on this call. I was connected to the people who were in Bali. Many of the speakers were in Bali. I was connected to them. I'm connected to the sun, the moon, just like you. So new earth, we're not separate from. Even with old earth, you could say, I am earth. I am source. I am peace. I am all that is. So new earth isn't separate from us. It's just that we have to move in until we are centered to the core of new earth. And then we see it in our own existence. It's who we are. It's who we have become as citizens of the new earth. So Eileen, changes, you just got to kind of go with them. The thing that can happen, or can help actually, is breath, believe it or not. So when things look fuzzy or whatever, you can, one, don't push, because that will just make it worse. Just close your eyes and just take some deep breaths, and you'll be amazed at what happens when you open your eyes. You will be able to see more. They'll be less blurred. So it could also be a sign that you're shallow breathing. Breath does affect your eyesight. So there is that. But there is also a lot happening in the third eye and the physical eyes, as well as the ears, mouth, throat, all of it. So just that. They're saying if you're somebody who wears glasses, and this is me, of course, this is something they always ask me to do, but it's something that I know I need to do. They just said, can you spend, they're saying 5 to 10 minutes a day without your glasses on or contacts? That's what I have on right now. So that your eyes can start to refocus on the new energy. When you wear glasses or contacts, while it magnifies certain frequencies of light so that you can see words, mostly that's my issue, I can't read words. Because it's done artificially, can also block your ability to see other light frequencies. So let's say sunlight or color lights or whatever. But if you just allow yourself to be okay with it being blurry, obviously don't do anything that you need your glasses with, like driving or anything like that. Like if you're just around the house, you'll start to notice there's an aura around things. You'll start to notice that maybe light appears instead of small, it actually looks like a star pattern where you start to see the sacred geometry. You won't ever see that with glasses on. And part of me with the eyes, I think that I was checking, they're like, yes, say that, that when we start to see the blur effect, and I was a kid when I started to have to wear glasses, is that the start of clairvoyance, where you're starting to see like the auric fields of things, and you're starting to see the energetic spread of things. And then we're told we have to wear glasses and that's not right. So then we block it out. Yeah, I know you could wear glasses. I just think that glasses, and I'm not, please, without my glasses, I'd be screwed. I wouldn't be able to drive. I wouldn't be able to do a lot of things. Mostly have to do with typing and, I wouldn't be able to see people's faces clearly unless they're like right here. But I think that there's something missing in there. And I keep being led to, can you just not wear your glasses? They're, to me, a habit. Like this morning I got up and I was like making tea, and then I realized I didn't have my glasses on. It was the first time I had ever not had the inclination to put them on the first time I got up. So I was like, well, something's weird there. And I heard, can you just not have them on? And I did that until I had to come to the computer to look at something. And then I was like, well, I gotta need them unless I'm going to be like here. So I put them on, and I need them to drive. But they're saying that it overcorrects and then can prevent you from being able to see the subtle energies around things, which can be viewed as blurry, right? That's what they're trying to refocus, the blur. There's something else about eyesight. Eyesight can also be affected by trauma. So some people they've done some research that the time and place where you first needed glasses, that there might have actually been a trauma that caused the eyesight to go. And then if you heal the trauma, that you could fix it. I have not found my trauma. I think it's a past life thing, which I just heard yes. So there's that. The other thing is part of eyesight is that we have this third eye thing and this physical eye thing. Well, as we work in this spiritual world, right, we're working to open this. Well, how do this and these work together? Because this used to just take in light, but evermore, I can feel that it's taking in actual physical pictures and I'm seeing it through my physical eyes. And unless they're in alignment, it's going to be blurry. Think of it like, they're showing me like binoculars, right? Where you have I hate binoculars, and I always see double vision unless I get like really, really, really close. So if you wear glasses or contacts or whatever in a safe place, allow yourself not to wear them. And if you can only do it for 5 minutes, that's okay. Eventually, you'll get comfortable with not having them on. If you've worn them for as long as I have, I've been wearing glasses since I was 13, so we're talking 40 years or more. It's a habit. It's like brushing my teeth. I put my glasses on because that's how ingrained it is. But they're asking us to make a change. I mean, if you're constantly wearing your glasses, this is my thing. So if I wear my glasses all the time, what if something could come in and heal my eyes, but because I'm wearing the glasses, I'm like overriding the healing? Does that make sense? So they want to give our eyes, they're saying, a break for it to remember how to see clearly without it. Now, as far as we know, no one, people have talked about healing the eyes, but it's not like a big thing people talk about. But I get a lot that, like, I know, like, I'm going to start this practice where I go and sit in the sun and I do the breathing exercises and connect. I know I'm not supposed to have my glasses on because I'm going to be able to see things that the glasses would focus out, if you will. So that's that. What else? So eyes, you may be hearing a lot more pressure changes. I've been hearing serious amounts of white noise. Here's a weird thing for me. So last week, or when I started the 7-day underworld thing, every time I would meditate, the smoke alarms would chirp. We replaced the batteries and I meditated next time. And the minute I got really deep, it would chirp. And we just changed the batteries. Like, I was doing the upgrade, it started to 10. My husband changed the battery, and we're pretty sure it chirped today while I was connecting to the divine energy. So there's something about the smoke detector where someone is messing with it. I don't know whether, I haven't figured that out. So these are weird things. Just pay attention to that. I mean, there's no way that every time I do a meditation that how it does that chirp when the batteries are dying. That's what it's doing. Only when I seem to enter certain energy. So just no coincidences. There's something about the smoke detector. Now, I've talked about this before. When I was a kid, I was scared to death of fire, and still have a little bit of that. And through working through my own stuff, I know it's actually past life. I never had anything to happen as a child that had to do with fire. It was all past life stuff. And I think the smoke detector it's trying to tell me something, because the fire that I'm actually afraid of is not outer fire. It's the fire that's in me, the fire that's being rebirthed. I am a Leo, which means I have a lot of fire energy, and it's very transforming and it's very deep. So I think as I'm moving through this phase of rebirth, that the energy of fire is really building in me. And every time it's almost like energetic fire. I don't know if that's how smart detectors could work. I'm not really sure, but it's been a very interesting thing. Okay, so we're going to pull some cards on the current energy and where they want us to know. Okay. Any other questions? What are people experiencing this week or last week, or, you know? See, I didn't even do anything. The camera changed again. And it could be because my light is, I don't know what's happening, honestly. Anyways. So. Is that just in the last 2 weeks? Because if it's just in the last 2 weeks, you just may be in a void. Well, this period between now and whenever your rebirth happened is a void. So you may find that things that you're interested in before may, they're saying, hit a snag. And it's just because they're saying you're being upgraded. So the frequency or channel that you would be able to focus on with mediumship is changing. So they're saying you could have a period where you don't really get anything because like the old channel has been switched off as you prepare for the new one. And then once that new channel comes on, you'll be able to do the mediumship or whatever gift is turned on, but through this new gateway, new highway, if you will. Interesting, Brenda. Interesting. I wonder I still haven't figured out what the smoke detectors mean. It's so weird. I mean, obviously the smoke detectors are about fire, but the batteries, when the batteries go like low battery. So the first time I heard it, I connected to Metatron. I said, what is this about? And I heard you have to reset your battery. Like basically I'd been doing too much and then I was overwhelming myself. And the smoke detector was telling me like, you need to reset your batteries. But then when I heard it the next time, I was like, okay, but I did the battery reset and I got that it wasn't. And I just haven't had the time to go back and ask, like, what are you trying to tell me with the freaking batteries? Awesome, Lori. Experiencing time differently, slow, fast, etc., mostly fast. We are in a quickening period, so it can go faster. But you can bend time. Time is of an illusion. You can bend time. It's something that we were taught in Theta Healing, but in fact, I used it last night because I had only 5 hours of sleep between the end of that upgrade and me having to be up this morning. And I said, can you slow down time so that I can get all the restorative sleep I need so I wake up and don't feel like a bus hit me? And it just happened. I haven't actually sped it up yet. It gave me more time to get stuff done today. But they're saying when you find yourself there, the thing that besides bending time, breath. It's interesting because before you talked about your eyes and they talked about breath. And now they're saying again, like if you were to just consciously take breath, you will slow down time. So I would play with that. Time is of the illusion. Like time is not, when you get into the higher dimensions, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, some people are even higher than that. Time doesn't exist. Time is a construct of the 3D. The only time we really have is the sunset and sun rising. But like, how much is our life tied to a clock or a watch? And we're trained from a very young age that everything is time-based when it's really not. It's just a 3D construct. So it's okay if that's happening. The other thing to happen is, and this was happening to me last week, and I have not had it yet, sense when I would meditate, I could sense there was another self of me somewhere else, and she was doing something else. I was having these dreams where I felt like I was in two different bodies. So we're switching between timelines right now. We're switching between dimensions. We're moving from a single dimensional body to a multi-dimensional body. So you may get these really weird sensations, knowings, like, something feels different or off. And it's because your frequency is shifting into this new way of being where you always were multidimensional, but now you're going to be aware of the fact that you're multidimensional. And you can get this weird time thing with this because time works different in every dimension. So you could get these really weird time shifts or losing time. I used to lose time all the time, although it seems to have stopped. And that can cause these weird sensations like, I feel like something's weird. And that can happen. That's just part of the shifting that's happening energetically. And it is part of the shift. I can't tell you when that will stop. The other thing that I had Monday, I think it was Monday, and you just be aware of these. I was sitting, just typing. I wasn't doing anything. And this energy came in and it pushed me onto the side. And then I came right back and I thought, oh, what? But this is those shifts that's happening, like almost like either something went out or something went, either I released something or like a new download came in. So just, all this stuff is going to shift our worlds in ways that we can't even explain. Today, for example, I keep all day, it's Friday, all day, it's Friday, it's Friday, it's Friday. And I would hear, no, it's Thursday. No, it's Thursday. So like I'm a day ahead somehow. So I get the whole time thing. Just honor that. I don't know why that's happening. There's a lot of timeline jumping happen, which can make time feel weird as well. Experiencing time differently, mostly fast. One night it was for hours. Yep. My smoke detector in Florida needed to be changed last month. Yes. They're saying make sure you're grounded when you think time is moving really fast. Because especially in the mornings, because when we're sleeping, we're astral traveling. We've always been astral traveling multi-dimensions. But now because we're starting to move into this new human that's multi-dimensional, we have to make sure that we are fully grounded into one dimension when we're here. Or we're going to get these weird time spins, they're saying, or weird sensations. Like yesterday, I was just like, I'm off. Something's off. Okay. I keep wanting to say something else and I keep going away. So it's interesting. I am getting that the smoke detectors can be very much about reset. In other words, maybe they're saying, no, you burn in both ends of the stick. And is it like a warning for you to reset your own batteries? So they're saying that. The other thing is the energy that's in and around us is also going through a reset. And there may just be a lot of, they're saying smoke around that needs to be called attention to. Now that could be anything. So that's happening because at night you're cycling through clearing stuff from that stuff that even maybe you're like, that doesn't matter. Maybe it did, it's they're saying a cleansing of the old chest, all the memories, cleansing the energy. So there's no emotional attachment to them. Part of the cleansing of our cells to allow us to bridge this gap wherever we're going. I haven't really been remembering my dreams. I had one last weekend that I was like, what? It was about the collective. But I have had deja vu moments more than ever, where I'm either watching something or doing something and I'm like, did I dream this? Did I dream this? And I hear, yeah. So even if you're not remembering, some people do, some people don't. I'm not great at it. You may get notions during your day that you feel like you've already been there. It's because you've probably dreamt it. The other thing is, and this is why they're saying it's so important that we ground into this dimension. This happened yesterday. I can't remember what the issue was. It went away. But I knew something had happened to me. I think it was yesterday, and I couldn't shake it after that. And I know it was because it was a multi-dimensional thing. And I was stuck. So I was somewhere. Oh, I know what it was. So my alarm went off. And I must have been way far away because my alarm went off. And it took me, God, it felt like forever. Like literally, like, where am I? And what freaking day is it? I couldn't remember what day it was. I couldn't remember where I was. Like, I hadn't opened my eyes yet. I was like, where am I? Like wherever the hell I was, because the alarm went off, I hadn't gotten back in time. So when I normally don't wake up to the alarm because I have my own business, so I set my own schedule so I can wake up on my own terms. And it's usually the same time every day, but that's my higher self knows that she's got to get back a certain time and she's got to get me snapped into this timeline. And because the alarm went off, she was, I don't know where she was, but I woke up literally, like, I had no idea where I was. Like, I didn't have any memory of this lifetime. It wasn't there. It was the most freaky thing. I've never experienced that before. And the alarm's going off. I can hear it. And I'm like, who am I? Where am I? What time is it? What day is it? And I was just like I was like cycling through it like a filing folder, like trying to figure out like where in the time-space continuum is this alarm going off? And eventually, it took a long time. Oh, it's this day and you're here. And then I opened my eyes. And it was this, I never felt on the money yesterday. I felt like I just blah. I was just like, what is happening? I kept asking. I was like, my higher self said, you did not come in on the timeline I wanted you to. She was working on getting me to another timeline when my alarm went off and it wasn't done. So then she had to backtrack, or my guys had to backtrack me into the other timeline that I was in that no longer felt comfortable. Like my frequency was higher than it was. And I almost had to be like downgraded. I was so off yesterday. I could do my clients, but I just felt blah. I was just like blah. And they're like, well, you didn't really come in the way we wanted to. So if you have any of those experiences, know that that's what's happening. Our higher selves are usually pretty good at getting us back in time, but I don't know where she was taking me. But it was the most freaky thing I've had moments when I'm driving, it's scary as hell, where I'm like, where am I? Yes, I admit it, on the highway, I like space out and then I'm like, where am I? And our subconscious is driving, but I've not had that waking up in the morning before. We are making big shifts. And I tried to meditate yesterday and I couldn't get it. She's like, you need sleep, which like deep, deep sleep to get me back. And then I heard this morning, you're all good. So, and I my alarm went off. Actually, I woke up before my alarm. So you may notice that if you have an alarm set, that you may wake up a half an hour early. And it's because your higher self is trying to land you into the right timeline, which she likes to do on her own time. She knows the steps to get you back to where you're going. Where if your alarm goes off, it's snap, and she may not have enough runway. So if you notice that you wake up like 15 minutes before your alarm's supposed to go off, or half an hour, it's because she's got this runway set up. So to make sure that when you start your day, you're exactly on the timeline and the dimensionality you're supposed to be in for that day. It can change the next day. We're changing timelines constantly. But if you notice that's happening, that's what's happening. I'm noticing that myself now. Like this morning, I thought for sure I'd sleep right past my alarm. I had like 4 alarms set because I was like, I can't see how this is going to happen. And I woke up half an hour early. And that's because she just, okay, we're good. I keep trying to deal cards. There's so much happening right now. So much is changing. So fast, so fast, so fast, so fast, fast. So, let's see. She's saying, you all need to follow your joy. That's the game plan for this new, it's to follow our joy, which can feel very odd for some of us because it's definitely not what we've been taught, but that's what we need to lean into. It does. I know it does. And I know, I've been there. I went through, God, years and years of this alone because I only had one teacher when I started this, God, 7-8 years ago. I went to this Eden energy medicine class, and this was the first time I had ever experienced anything like this. And it totally blew my mind. I was like, how am I, 30 some odd years old? And I had never heard of this stuff. And she became my mentor. I was her guinea pig. She would practice on me, Eden energy medicine, beta healing, all kinds of different modalities. And in that, she was teaching me all this stuff. And then she moved to California. And ever since then, I went through a lot of this stuff alone. And I don't want anybody to go through this alone. What's happening now is scary, or can be scary. And we can get ourselves really worked up about it. Like, oh my God, what's happening? What's happening? Something feels off. And instead, just to reach out to somebody and say, hey, this is happening, or to hear me talk about it helps calm your nerves. Awesome. That's exactly what I want this to be. So thank you, Michelle. And I'm glad I can help. Okay, so we are going to get cards here, I swear. As long as I don't channel something else through. Not surprised. Not surprised at all. Remember, this is current energy. So this is pre-Easter. So I'm going to deal cards for next week to see how the energy shifts. So I just asked for the cards for now. And the card that I said, I'm not surprised. And this is why I wish the light would work better, because I know you could see better if I had the light on. But let's see what happens. Well, you can see me less, but the card more. This is the balancing act. And I'm not surprised to see this card, because that's what we're being asked to do. We're trying to balance our current lives, but also allowing space for this new place. We're allowing ourselves to be open to moving into this idea of living from joy, living in play and discovery, while we still live in this very 3D world. It's a balancing act to stay in the energy of love and joy, and try as hard as we can to recognize our triggers so we can stay out of anger and fear. It happens. We're human. It's normal. It's not that you're not supposed to. But when you have those, you lean in and say, what is this trying to tell me about myself? What am I really afraid of? Why do I feel anger? And then in doing that, you can switch back to the joy and bliss. It's this constant balancing act. They're showing me like a cruise liner, back and forth. It's not really a cruise liner. It's more like a oil tanker. And we're moving back and forth, back and forth. And it's this constant dance, they're saying, that we're in, where we've made the conscious choice that we're going to take the leap, walk, fly, drop off the edge, which is what I had to do. But we're still in this 3D world. So we still have to navigate and choose to be in, consciously choose to be in this energy of joy and play and creativity in the feminine. And they're saying every day you wake up and you declare, I am joy. I am peace. I am creativity. I am one with the new me. And in that, you tell yourself that you're ready for the day, and you're declaring what you want the day to be. And they're saying it's not long term that you're gonna have to do this. It's just right now, because we're still in this transformational part, that we have to just remind ourselves sometimes that that's where I'm choosing to live from. I'm choosing today to live from joy, play, discovery. Spirit, show me how. Show me how to live from joy and creativity today for my highest and best good. Show me what I can't see yet, because I'm not open to yet, because I have blocks to joy, play, and creativity, so that I can see it and heal it. You have that power. We all have that power, and it's beautiful. But they're saying we're still in this energy of having to choose how we want to live each day. And that's what the balancing act is. This is magic prayer. Love magic. Love the energy of the feminine in here. A lot of light. I know we've gotten this card before. Just no idea what it means. When you see the magic prayer card, it's a reminder that your prayers will be answered. Spirit is always waiting to help you and to heal you when you're in need. That said, the best prayer is, thy will be done through me. Thy will and not mine be done. Conscious contact with your higher power is achieved through the ritual of prayer and meditation. Speak and listen to the divine force within the field of creation. Surrender your wishes and desires to Spirit. You may not get what you want, but you will surely get what you need. Your destiny awaits you. As long as you keep in conscious contact with your higher power, be assured that you are on the right path. So one of the other things that, if you have time, if you can't do it daily, they're like, it's fine, but try to do it at least a couple times a week. If you could sit, allow yourself to center, and intend to connect to your higher self. And have a conversation with her. Now, if you're not clairaudient, that's fine. Even clair-knowing. We're at a point where you have to start building a relationship with your higher self. But we also have to make sure we're making choices with him or her input. So you can ask her, what brings you joy? Where do you want me to play? And today, when I drove to West Hartford to get my haircut and didn't happen, on the way home, I was doing this in the car, and she said, I love to drive. Now, I don't go out. I don't drive very often, maybe once a week. So she literally had me drive to West Hartford and back, because that's what she loves to do. And I do like to drive. I just, she likes the whole energy of it. But so it doesn't have to be hard. I mean, driving is simple for most people, right? You have to ask what brings her joy. And in that, you will feel her joy, which is an expansion of joy that just comes from the heart. And that we get closer and closer to the bliss that many people use drugs to get to. We can get there through our own heart space if we will allow ourselves to embody the energy of our higher selves and the joy that they feel. They're already there. We just have to open ourselves to it. And then the last card, this is always one that I'm just like, oh, there's a time thing. There's a time here. This is Ghostlands. It was upside down. There's time on here. There's a portal. It's like past stuff. No cards are bad cards. Everything is the way it's supposed to be. Yes, I know. When the Ghostland cards appears reversed, it's a sign that you're wandering in an emotional and intellectual place with no real substance. There is no point longing for that which has already gone or hadn't happened yet. Perhaps you've created a fantasy of the good old days or some elusive utopian destination that lies somewhere in the future when this or that happens to make things better. Live one day at a time. Each day is a new beginning filled with truth and beauty. Stay away from the ghostlands of past and future. Avoid nostalgia and longing for something better. Find joy in what is present in your life today. So we are having to look through the past to clear stuff. But I talked about this earlier about how many people are waiting for this new earth to come and think it's going to be like kumbaya and there's going to be rainbows and unicorns and they can just step onto it and there's nothing that they have to do. And this card is saying that's exactly not true. Even before New Earth, there's many people will say, and me included at some point, when I have this much money, I'll be happy. When I have this much money, I'll be able to do this. Or if I have this success, I can do this. If I have love in my life, I can do this. Or if I have something, I can do this. They don't want us to live from that standpoint. They want us to live in the now. That's all we have. We don't have yesterday. We don't have tomorrow. There will always be tomorrow. Well, not always be tomorrow, but you know what I'm saying. All you have is here. And this is where we create from. We don't create in the future. We create in the now. So the card is asking us to just really focus on where you are today and not be so focused on the future. Obviously, from a manifesting standpoint, they ask you to imagine where you'll be in a year, but there's still no emotional attachment to it. It's the emotional attachment that gets us stuck. And then we're waiting for these things to happen in order for us to then have permission to do something else. Like we're waiting for that to happen. And they're saying we can't do that. We can ask for it, have the emotion connection like we already have it, like right now, and emotionally let it go and know it's coming. They're saying people are getting stuck in the past with nostalgia. This is that energy of letting go, having to maybe go through a basement or attic if you're a parent and throwing away children's craft projects from when they were 5, with their fingers, or I know I had pennies. I had some Christmas ornaments my parents had that I was like, please God, put those on the back of the tree so no one can see them. I know it brings you memories, but those are ugly. And I didn't do a good job. There's, those just create space so then we can't bring in new space. We're ever expanding, but we don't want the junk of the past that has no more meaning to be in the future. So, like I have some ornaments from my dad who got them from his grandmother, but they're like collector's items. And I know it makes him happy seeing them on the tree, so I keep them. But like he gave me the stuff that because they downsized to a small Christmas tree, they gave me all the stuff my sister made when she was a kid. They gave me all my stuff my brother made. I threw those out. Don't tell anyone. Because I was like, this is not stuff that, even though I made it, I just don't have there's no value to it anymore. So we have to be willing to let that stuff go energetically and hopefully, potentially toss it out if it's not something that you totally need. So we're still in that energy. Or like they're saying there's some people that still have, and depending on the family, it can be better, that some people still have the art projects, report cards, they're saying, from when their children were little. And they're saying, do you really need that still? They're like, we'll make a bargain with you. You can keep one. But the rest of it is just energy that isn't allowed to recreate it something into something that you can have now that gives you even more joy than that does. So we're going to do next week. What do we have next week? Yeah, not surprised at that at all. Yeah, it's as a nostalgia, I get it, but like, yeah, like what? Like that would be something like a squirrel would find and be like super excited, and then open and be like, what is this? Like this is like prehistoric. To a squirrel, it would be prehistoric, right? Yeah, I mean, I know my parents gave them to me, and I was just like, why do you think I want them? But holding all of that prevents you from being able to bring in new stuff that can give you new memories, so it's like, we know that walnut doesn't take up a lot of space, but energetically it holds a lot of space in her auric field as like a file memory. You still have that memory whether she has the actual physical item or not. But that's interesting. Yeah, I always, Christmas ornaments, I'm just like, oh, please, can you just put that? I remember when my parents are still in the old house and they put up the big tree and they'd be like, oh, they have to be front and center. I was like, oh, God, please. I'm like, can we just move it in the back? But yeah, I think I've thrown all of those out now. I mean, I remember I have just pictures. I mean, I have my parents, but I also have an aunt that has closets and closets and closets full of just pictures that no one will ever look through. Like, she doesn't look through them. It's just holding energy of, potentially even painful times. Most people don't print pictures now, so they don't take as much space. And honestly, who has done this? Taken pictures, even digitally, and never looked at them all but once. Unless they're like baby pictures or, I mean, they're saying all in. They're like, there are some people that overdo it. I can tell you, I take pictures and I think I've looked at them once. I'm like, oh, I'll look at these later. Right. But if that's your thing, some people like pictures and, you have to honor that. But they're saying that these are like, and it's always good to have pictures like for anniversaries and, birthdays and remembering. They're like, but the Christmas ornaments they're laughing about and report cards. And they're saying first tooth, people collect. Do people really, I haven't had any kids. Do people keep their baby teeth, kids' baby teeth? God, we can't get rid of this card. It just keeps coming back. So I think I've had this card every single time. And sometimes it's upside down, sometimes it's not. It is upside down today. It's magical awareness. So they're saying this is actually for the weekend. So I didn't get cards for next week yet. So this is magical awareness. And it's all about the past. This is about this card is to warn you that too much force behind a desire for a specific outcome robs you of a true and full experience. Step back, take your energy away from your situation, and focus on gratitude for the ever-changing condition of life. Are you perhaps trying to control the outcome of something because you don't trust in your highest good? Meditate, be still, and your answer will come without any effort on your part. Be a neutral observer, and you'll see how this moment is but a small marker on the map of your life's journey. Yeah, right? That's right. Actually, it's Wizard of Awareness. Did I say magic? I'm sorry. Trust. We have a habit, at least I have, and I've noticed in my clients as well, is that we'll trust our spirit guides more than ourselves. So we're always looking for that. Am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? Because we don't trust ourselves. And I had to work through this yesterday because I had a past life trauma that has caused me to continuously not trust my own instincts, not trust that I know that things are going to be okay, or not whatever. And when we don't trust ourselves, we can be looking outside of ourselves for proof of what we feel might happen, or maybe we latch onto someone else's path because they trust that path, and then we can trust in it because they do. And they're saying that we need to learn to trust ourselves. You create your reality based on your beliefs and your emotional, they're saying, hygiene. But when we don't trust, we get into trouble, because in the journey to the unknown, we don't know where the hell we're going. We don't know what tomorrow will look like. It's like today, I'm like, I don't even know what tomorrow will look like. I'm going to sleep tonight and I'm going to integrate more of the stuff I got last night. Who the hell knows what it looks like tomorrow? And I have to trust that, be okay with, I don't know what things will look like in a week. I mean, that's how deep a transformation we're going through. Things keep shifting. I mean, I got at the beginning of March, when I had this dream that by the end of March, I would not be the same person. So I know there's this deep, but there's a trust, like, am I doing enough? Have I done everything I need to in order to get that to happen? Because I didn't trust it. I didn't trust myself and my ability to trust all the signs that are around me. So they're asking you to muscle test if you have blocks around trust, and not trust of others, trust of self. Do you trust yourself fully? And then if not, to be able to work into that. Because when we don't trust ourselves, beyond looking for outside whatever, we look to control. We want everything to be set perfectly so that there isn't anything, and that's how we manifest or try to get us to feel like we can trust ourselves. In this journey into unknown, we don't know what the table is going to look like tomorrow. We might have purple plates instead of white plates, or we might not even have silverware. Who the hell knows? But we have to be able to trust ourselves in the process. So we still have that energy. This is Heal the Ouch. We've gotten this card a couple of times. This is more just about clearing. It was upside down though, so we got to read the card. Read the deal. This card is a message urging you to make amends for any harm you've done to another. Appraise yourself honestly. How have you been selfish, greedy, or inconsiderate of others? Have you harbored resentment towards those who have harmed you in the past? Practice deep and radical forgiveness. In order to be free, to know healing, you must surrender your old hurts and begin anew. Forgiving yourself and loving yourself is important too. Be humble and willing to admit to your weaknesses. Know the imperfections of the human personality. Walk tall as you take the path of the shaman, the wise elder, who is willing to go into the shadows to bring healing light to the old wounds. So some people like to focus on just what has been done to them in the past. Like, we all have had crappy stuff happen to us, burned at the stake, hunted, exiled, whatever. But we've also done some not so good things. And I know from digging through my stuff, I've definitely done some things that I would not do in this life, like not happening. But we need to be able to look at that stuff because that's part of our identity, and it can lead to guilt or shame or anger. It will definitely hold us back. So we're being asked to not just look at others and asking for them to change, but to ask what our part in is it this way. So we may have people around us now who we think, oh my God, why are they doing that? That's awful that they're doing that. But those people are in your consciousness, not to be like pushing your buttons and making you angry. It's for you to go, okay, so what is that trying to tell me about myself? Everything that you interact with is a mirror of something within you. So if you're angry at something, even if it's not a person, let's say there's something on the news, there's still something in there that's trying to tell you that there's something to heal for you. And it's to lean into that and to see what your play was in that. I know through my work that I've, in Atlantis, I was, involved in genetic stuff. I would not do that now, but I did it then. And there's people doing that, now with like food and that. So I had to heal that and forgive it. It exists because it's like a playback of a past life so that we can heal it. And sometimes it's much, much, much easier to forgive or release based on others, the stuff that people have done to us. It's much, much harder to sometimes, depending on the person, to admit that we ourselves have done things that we would never do in a million years now. Through my last course, we went through the 42 ideals of Ma, and we healed all of those, released all the trauma, forgiveness, all of that. And I stole food from children. I stole from God. I had some of the, I was like, oh my God, like who have I been in past lives? But that all the stuff doesn't serve us anymore. We need to let go. So, and then the last card, not shocked at all. Making a choice. I talked about this in the end, like we're at this weekend is that bridge. Are you in Illumination? Or are you in the old? You will not be able to have both. You gotta make a conscious choice, and you have to stay the path. It doesn't mean that you won't have moments where you drift off into the other side because you have an angry moment or fear moment. But as an enlightened being, as the creator, the higher self within you, you have a choice to say, oh, wait, this is teaching me something. Let me heal that. And then right back. But if you don't choose to let go of the fight, and I saw this, I don't remember where, I think I was in a session with someone, and we were working through this because one of the other things that came up for me last week, and I'll do a whole video on this because it's that important, is persecution. And a lot of what we're seeing in the world today is based on just that one word, persecution. Where have you felt persecuted in your life? There is a lot of healing to be done in that. And we've been persecuted in many lifetimes. We have persecuted others. And this life, this energy that we're in right now and the collective very much has the energy of persecution. My beliefs are better than yours. And if you don't believe like you do, you're whatever. That's persecution. And we need to make peace with it. And I know there's going to be a larger video that comes out of that because it's so important for people to recognize that. Now you can say that's victimhood, but the word victimhood has gotten watered down. And what happens when people hear that, they just go, oh, I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. But when I say persecution, it just reigns in. It's like, oh, like it's and I was having this, watching something where I felt persecuted, and that's where it came up. And when I realized it, I was like, oh my God, like I could name a lot of people who feel persecuted And just based on their behavior, you can tell. It's not to judge them. It's just now I get it. It's like, oh, I'm like, how did people, what? And it's the persecution energy. And like I said, I'm going to do a greater video on it and do some healing around it because it's so important. The persecution can stop you dead in your tracks on your energy, on your spiritual path. It will zap the life out of you. And I know you can think of people around you who you think, oh, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Or even yourself. I mean, I definitely had that in my energy field. It was more of a, I was watching two sides battle it out, if you will. And I was, think of like red pill, blue pill. And I was like, for a long time, like Amanda was purple pill. And at this point, I'm just like, I'm none of the above. Like, I'm not taking any pills. And I was just watching this dance between these sides. And I was like, where the hell do I belong? Because I don't belong in either camp. And I'm done. I'm done with that whole BS. I'm just done. And that's where the energy of persecution came up for me. Because I felt like I didn't matter and I didn't have a place. And I had to somehow agree to one side or the other to matter. And I got this because I was trying to interact with other people that maybe weren't so deep into this stuff. And they were so angry and so resentful and so just nasty. And I just thought to myself, why does this keep happening to me? And it was energy of persecution. I was manifesting that. And once I was able to let go of persecution, I found this summit. I was able to meet people, different people, and I feel like I belonged. So that's something else for you to work on. I know, we've said a lot of different emotions, but persecution is not something that I've heard anybody else talk about. And there's definitely an energy of that right now. And that's what Jesus went through. Even though he didn't feel persecuted, there's a whole storyline behind that. He made a choice to do that. He made a choice to crucify himself so that he would take the spotlight off of his followers with the hope that they can continue the work he was doing out of the spotlight. But many people felt persecuted because of that. So it does go back to Jesus' timeline. I'm sure it goes back even farther than that. They're not going to give us cards for next week. They want us to make that choice. They're like, we can give you cards, but it depends on what choice they make. These are your higher self messages. This weekend, you get to make a choice between, I'm going to put down the sword and I'm not going to try to fight. I'm going to be anti anything. I'm just going to let myself be and let the emotional attachment stuff to that go. And the thing that I want to mention with a client, we were working through the persecution energy and Metatron came in and he showed me like this vast of people who just feel persecuted all the time. And he looked at me and he goes, watch. And he waved his hand. And all I saw, do you remember when I was a kid, there used to be like fun houses and they would have all those mirrors, or maybe it was a mirror house. You'd have to go through the maze and figure out where the hell you were. I saw mirrors for eons. And in the mirror, I saw the reflection of my client, every single one. And before, there was a person there that they were fighting. Those are mirrors of you. The persecution, if you think you fall in there, you're fighting parts of yourself, in essence. I was a little shocked to see that, but it made sense to me. So, where we go now? And I know that, depending on what your cultural background is and your religious background, persecution is a big deal and can be in Judaism, can be in paganism, can be in Essenes. It's there because there's been a lot of battles between different religions and pharaohs and Roman Empire and kings and queens. So we have a lot of history of that. But again, I'm I'm going to do a whole separate video on that. Asking what cards. Okay, so we're going to get 2 cards from the higher dimensional oracle deck by Starlight, and then I'll do dragons because I'm surprised I'm still awake. Oh, and I have celebration cupcakes waiting for me. That's what they wanted me to go and get. Nora's cupcakes. Love me some Nora's cupcakes as my rebirth day or rebirth weekend celebration. And of course, Easter we will have 2, but I'm going to have one tonight. And that's the other thing. They're like, celebrate this. As much as it's a huge transformational jump that we're making, a huge evolutionary process we're all going through. And sometimes we get lost so much in the processing and transformation and jumping and having time move, and we forget to celebrate the gift that we're being given. And while it may not seem like a gift when you're in it, it's beautiful. As I experienced last night and today. They're going to give me the same freaking cards. Watch this. Watch. Just watch. I'd be shocked at this point. They're like jumping out of the deck. Okay. I say that because the first card I got was this, which was the last card I got last time. Challenges. Good night. Oh, no. Sorry. I can't read. I need to take my contacts out. Sorry. Yeah, but we won't get that. They told me 3 cards this time. You can try, but that's the same energy. They're being funny with me. Okay. So we got this first card, which is challenges. This is blocks, fears, negativity, and betrayal. Which betrayal to me is in that persecution energy. It's hard to see. I guess that's better. There's all kinds of monsters on here and people fighting each other. And then the other card I got opposite of this is inspirational creation. Weaving. On the bottom it says alchemy, the elements, and invocation. These are choice points. Which one feels better to you? You can't have both. You can't want this, but still want people to do something to prove a point. They're saying you have to be willing to let that go because you're only manifesting proof, more and more proof of it. So we're at that choice point this weekend. This is what's going to happen. You get to make a choice. They're saying some of you already have, and that's okay. If you already have, you're good. But if you're still on the fence, know that you still have to make this choice, and it's final. They're saying there's no refunds. There's no refunds this time. And no, sometimes even if you go here, as a human, you're still going to sometimes end up here, but you can always get back to here very easily if you're willing to dig into why. And this energy, the woman in green, is beautiful. She's weaving a whole new world. There's magic around her. She's got the earth and earth elements around her, alchemy, which is transformation and transforming joy around us and feeling and knowing that it exists. I just love the energy of that card. It gives me goosebumps, and it's very much a mother earth energy. If you think about, you talk about new earth before, this is the energy of new earth. This is, you can't really see here, but she's dressed as a fairy. So the Mother Earth energy is around her with the elements. This is what Mother Earth is creating for us all. But we get to choose if we're going to still fight in the old world or whether we're going to just put down the sword and come along into this new world. And the third card they gave us, Galactic guidance. We are not alone. And while many of us feel alone going through this process and thinking, what the hell is happening to us? What's happening to me? I feel alone. And while, I'm here to help, and whoever else that you listen to is out there to help, there are legions of archangels, ancestors, star beings, dragons, unicorns, that are here helping usher it in, helping it be birthed, to be part of it. They're just as invested as we are. And last night when I was doing this upgrade, I could see them all on the front lawn. Indians, there was a lot of drumming going on. I could hear it because I was going through the initiation process. And they're all here. All you have to do is ask and they'll show up. Now, I have had, I shared in the beginning when I was talking about when I was in the 7 days in the underworld, is that I started to work with star beings, Lyrans. And that was it. But I've had, I'll call them mystical experiences with galactic beings before, only since I started this, although that's not true. I remember as a child, my father saw a UFO. So I've had some of that stuff. And I know I've had a lot of dreams lately, a remembering of my inner child interacting with them outside my home. In fact, I had a vision the other day of me in this, I was little, 3-4 years old, where I was out playing and I could see them. So they're here. If you resonate with, if you find yourself, they're saying, if you find yourself just someone who just needs to look at the sky all the time and feel like the moon talks to you or the stars talk to you, know that it may not be the stars that is talking to you. It may be a long distance call from someone far away who's sending you love, sending you support, sending you that they see you and that they're proud of you, that you've gone this far, that you've been brave enough to do this, to do the work, to be courageous enough. They know it's not easy. They know that Earth has a low density and it's hard to sometimes work through this, but they see you. And even though they might be, God, trillions, I'm not even sure, miles away, right? You can still connect heart to heart, third eye to third eye. You have a soul family, a star family somewhere who knows why you're here. And even though they're not physically here with you, they are helping you and have been helping you for a long time. It's just, I think right now in this window, we're getting a chance to deepen the connection to our galactic friends and potentially work with them to help us remember things that we've done in the past that can help Earth now and our fellow humans and animals and plants, but also things that potentially far advanced things on these other galaxies or planets that can now work in Earth energy that can help us now. So if you start to have visions of people who don't look, for me, they look like people, but One, they're much taller. The ones that I've been seeing lately, usually cloaked in white. They'll show up different for you. And if you're not sure, you can come out and say, muscle test, however you do it, and say, are these star friends? And just go from there. They're saying not to be afraid of us. They're saying a lot of you are afraid of us because there are some non-benevolent ones, just the same. They're saying, but there's non-benevolent humans, and you guys go out. We are friend, not foe. We are here to help. Let me connect to whoever this is. Okay. It's the star being I've been seeing. He doesn't really have a name. It does have a male energy, though. Very tall, the whole white thing. You're saying Earth is coming out of a void into a large energy of creation energy that will spur your planet forward. It will not only spur the energy of Mother Earth in creation, allowing her to move things around and shift and grow new plants and welcome back new energy, but most of it will be channeled through you to inspire you to create new things that will help Earth, help humanity, help get back to the original tirades of what Earth was meant to be as a school, learning through play and discovery. In those times, you needed nothing. Everybody had abundance. It was never a thought. Everybody was successful. And even in those trips and falls, there was always someone there to lift you up and say, you got this. I'm here to tell you, you got this. I know it's hard. We stand far, far away and we look and we say, oh my God, how could they be going through this? This is awful. And then we remember that our brothers and sisters are on Earth, bringing forth the new paradigm, bringing forth the new version of Earth, the way she was supposed to be. Everyone's equal. There's no lack. You just are the way Source created you to be, and the beauty of that. You don't have to learn how to be joyous. You are joy. You don't have to learn how to be beautiful. You are beautiful. You don't have to learn how to be you. You don't have to go to school for years. Remember, you are who you are from the moment you're born, and you're nurtured and loved to become more of that. Your parents knew what your mission was and your gifts were, and they would nurture that. So far, far, far away from where you are now. But you're there to help bring this back, to allow this energy to be rebirthed into Earth. And while I know you can look at the landscape of Earth right now and think, how on earth do we get from there or from here to there? And this is where trust comes in. Do you trust Spirit, your angel guides, your ancestors, us, the dragons, the unicorns, the beings that you have not yet discovered? That they know how to get you back to where you belong. And the true essence of what Earth is. What she was birthed to be to begin with. A school, a place for you to learn and grow. Earth is exciting. There's things to experience on Earth that don't exist on other planets. And yes, one of them is free will. But free will was never supposed to exist in a place where you could hurt others through it. We're moving back to a place where free will and divine will merge, where you'll get to make free will choices as long as they don't go against divine will. And this means that you cannot hurt another through your own choices. You can only have free will in doing things that do not harm someone else or Earth. It takes a shift in consciousness, but I want you to know that within you, you have the codes to bring that forth. You have to unzip it, if you will, activate it, light it up with the lights, bring more lights in, and it just bursts forth from you. You don't have to do anything. It's who you are. It's why Earth asked you to come back now. And some of you may wonder, why you are where you are on Earth, and know that you're planted there on purpose. You are the seed for the new Earth. The codes that you contain within you, that you're activating as you fully commit to the path, to doing the work, are activated one by one, and it's seeded into Earth, grounded into her, allowing her to activate the codes within her. She can't do it without you. She needs you, every single one of you, no matter who you are. She needs all the animals, all the plants, all the water, all the rivers, all the whales, dolphins, all of it, the ice. There isn't a single part of her that doesn't need this. And as you allow your light codes to activate within you, you give someone else's higher self permission to work with them when their conscious self is not quite there, as you are the flashlight, the lighthouse, helping their higher selves to have the courage to continue to work with their conscious self that seem lost. Some of you think that you have to actually do something to get those people to change, but you don't. You just need to be you. You need to be the lighthouse. I've done the work. I've done self-leadership. I've led myself out of the shadows to remember who I really am underneath all the layers, who Source created me to be. And in that, your light shines brighter and brighter and brighter to your neighbors, to the neighborhood, to your city or town, to the state, to the country. Just by you doing your work. There are those of you that have bigger missions where you are here to help others, but not everyone has that. All you need to do is just be you. And if you're supposed to be one of those out there to help more, you'll know. You either already know or will know soon. But I just want you to know that we love you. We have not forgotten about you. We know the struggles you've been through. We know the darkness that has riddled your planet for centuries. And I want to tell you that that's not who you are, and that's not who she is. And I need you to connect to the energy of that truth in your body right now. I want you to feel the truth of you. Allow yourself to feel it. It's beating within you, waiting for you to connect to it. That's all you have to do. And even in this moment, you can't feel it. Make the intention. Cry it out to Source. I make the intention to pull back the veil that prevents me from being able to feel this inside of me. I know it's there. I don't need anyone's permission. I just need to do what I need to do to feel it within me. And when you do that, you will feel it in Mother Earth, as she will call back to you, as she celebrates in you remembering. And when you remember, Know that you might get a call back from the stars as we celebrate your courage to allow yourself to connect to that part of you that has been dampened through years and years and years of struggle and sacrifice. No more. So with the intention to connect to that place, the remembrance of who Source created you to be, I also want you to make the intention that today I work with Source, my ancestors, spiritual guides, higher selves, whatever you want to call it, to remember how to learn through joy, discovery, and play with ease and grace. And allow the miracles to come. These opportunities already exist around you. You just need to intend to connect to them. When you make that intention, you will call forth all of the legions of angels that are there working with you, star beings, ancestors, archangels, Egyptian pantheon, whoever. And they will help you see that in your life now. Now, my hope with this is that when you start to see the manifestation of joy and bliss in your life and happiness and discovery and feel how good that feels in your body and your remembrance of that, it gives you the courage to continue. We know it's hard, but I can't tell you how beautiful it will be when you feel this in your bodies, when you radiate this. You're not concerned about what people think of you when it happens, because no one can take it away from you, because it's inside. And we will celebrate with you. The universe will celebrate with you, one by one. This is what I ask for you to do in the next couple of days. She's been talking about choice points. I really just want you to make a choice as to whether you're really willing to stand in the element and feeling of joy and bliss and creativity and peace. That's the choice. You choose where you are now. And do you want to turn on the channel that's going to radiate joy, bliss, grace into your life every day and every minute? Where you just find yourself dancing and moving your body just because you are. It's not because you have to go do something. It's just because that's who you are. And it is who you are. You've just forgotten. Now I'm here to remind you. Don't fight it. Your higher self is trying to bring this into your life. So if you find yourself wiggling a little bit, making dinner, or wiggling a little bit while you're making tea, allow yourself to play with it. Allow it to move. Wonder what's happening maybe. Or just allow it to siphon through you and remember the joy and bliss in that moment. And see how the world changes around you. When you allow this joy and bliss and courageousness to blast open your heart, you will manifest everything your heart desires faster than you can imagine and bigger than you can imagine. Because you will only manifest those things that will bring you more joy, bliss, discovery, and play. So that's my challenge to you. And I don't mean it for it to be hard. It will only be hard if you make it. You can make it right now to make this choice. No, I choose right now to live from a place of play, creativity, joy, and bliss. Spirit, show me how. Ancestor, show me how. Higher self, whoever. And let it magically unfold. There are miracles waiting for you this weekend, but they will come through this energy. So I'm going to ask you to put your fullest effort into this, because I want you to experience the miracles, to keep going, to keep expanding the joy and bliss that radiates from you, that then allows other people to feel it too. And then they want to know what the hell you're doing to feel the joy and bliss, and they want to change. Yes, you will ruffle some feathers because it's going to feel foreign to the people around you. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. This is how you become a leader, self-leader. People lead when you are your own leader for yourself, and then people want to be where you are because it's amazing. Can you be that for yourself? If you need help, we're here. Call us in. We will help joyfully. We can't wait to help. We can't wait to see the beauty that's going to be born through you, and the beauty that will come from you from that, and the beauty that you will allow to expand into other people's life by you inviting it in. So thank you. Thank you for listening and being open. Bye for now. Sorry, I had my eyes closed, so I'm going back reading. Michelle's like, oh God, yes, I had a lack of my child's hair. Yeah, that probably can go. Night, yes, Michelle. Sounds like a wonderful choice. That's what I'm choosing. Who are you channeling? So this is a guide that I've been seeing for the past week. He's a star being. He's Lyran, which is what my home planet was. And he doesn't really have a name because I see a J. They don't have human names. So this is how I just, but I know his imprint because he's come through every time I've seen them in the last couple of weeks. There's been one other female, but she isn't around as much as he is. So I don't have a name. I just know who he is. I know he's part of the Lyran Council. They're saying he's part of the Lyran Council to assist Earth. But he's new to me. So did not expect that to happen. See, this is trust, right? Like I could have said no right away. Like I don't want to channel star beings. I don't want to go there. I just said, no, let's go. You're here? Okay, let's go. What do you got to say? It took me a long time to get there, but you can do that too. So we're going to do dragons and we're going to call it a night. We got 3 dragons on deck. I need some water first. One. Okay. Okay, Jay. Interesting. 3. Okay. Chose 2. Brenda. Okay. Good night, Jay. Number 1, we got soul guardian. Look, there's 3 cards in this thing. Okay. Soul guardian. This beautiful dragon is your soul guardian, your own dragon counterpart. This majestic being carries all of you, all incarnations and experiences. You are he. He is you. He knows all there is to know about you and your lives. He knows that which you need to do, that which you avoid and celebrate. He is the guardian of every incarnation you have experienced as a soul throughout the ages, the good, the bad, and of course the ugly. I also hold your shadow side, that which one would rather not acknowledge exists. I am the keeper of all memories. As you pass through each lifetime, the human body and mind, being what it is, has a need to protect itself when trauma or pain is experienced, whether from birth, life, or death. Small pieces of your soul retreats to protect itself, and as the guardian of your soul, I keep all of these pieces safe. I am the expression of the whole and complete you. Your soul guardian dragon has arrived in your cards today. You are being urged that the time has come to begin to piece your soul back together, to recall all the missing links, therefore completing the amazing picture of you and all of your magnificent as a living being. He tells us all you need to do is ask, and I will guide your way. You're a spiritual warrior, but you must learn to listen to your inner guidance. I will always be beside you as you traverse your path. Okay. Well, he flew in and he had something in his mouth, so I took it out and he had me put it down on a table. It's an old newspaper article. I can't see what it says, but it's got that, newspaper gets that old color. And I said, how does this apply to everyone? And he goes, there's more on my back. So I checked his back and there's loads of them. I know many of you have done a lot of work and I understand that, but there's still pieces holding you back. In this lifetime, you may find that you may never get to the core, or even if there is a core, so you always need to keep going. But there are some pieces to your jigsaw puzzle that are missing still. There are collective events that are perpetrating some stagnancy in your field. Now, these could be big things, wars, fighting, famine, whatever it is. But some of it, just know that newspaper didn't exist. And I'm just using this as a picture. Because these newspaper event things are not yours. What I mean by that is they're not things that you yourself had any hand in. Like you didn't cause the war, or you didn't cause the famine, or you didn't cause the family drama. You can easily burn them away. What they did do is cause traumas, though, that are stuck in your energy field that still need to be let go. So right now, I just want, if you chose me as your guardian tonight, I just want you to close your eyes. And I want you to imagine that there is a sack of newspaper articles in front of you. Allow it to be as big or small as you want. There's no judgment. The number that's supposed to be will be there. They're saying, even if you haven't drawn this card, you can do this. Let it be as big, small, wide, doesn't matter. Check in with yourself and see if you're ready to let all of this go, or if there's any resistance to doing so. If there's not, or even if there is and you just want to push through, it's more than optimal. I want you to make the intention in your heart to release all the trauma that those newspaper articles have caused you through time and space. Forgive whoever did the injustice, whoever hurt, whoever stole, whoever judged, whoever made fun. As you allow yourself to center in that energy, make the intention to release any vows, contracts, or oaths no longer serve you that are tied to this. As you witness these events, you create vows and contracts or oaths that prevent you from, or seemingly prevents you from being able to experience something like this for yourself. But really what it does is it cuts off your flow. You'd like to release the trauma of that, receive the forgiveness, and release the vows, contracts, and oaths. Say yes to yourself and open yourself up to receive. And as that happens, I want you to light those newspaper articles on fire and let them burn away. Ashes to ash, dust to dust. And as it burns away, the soul guardian dragon comes to you. And in his mouth, he holds a bag. Take the bag from the dragon. In this bag are all the soul fragments that you left behind from these traumatic events. He has brought them back to you, cleansed them in the fire of transmutation. I want you to lift that bag over your head and open it so that all of these pieces, these soul fragments, rain down on you and find their place in your soul's auric field. So pieces come down and join with the rest of your soul. You may start to feel some spinning. Know that that's normal. It's the fusion. The spinning causes the fusion that allows those pieces to fuse with the whole. And as that egg spins, I want you to just give yourself a hug. Allow yourself to feel into the joy and celebration and getting those pieces back. And know that you're free from that. Okay. So that was the soul guardian dragon. He's all set. He flew off. He's like, my job is done. Okay. So second card is the healer. XXVV2. XXVV2. I am the guardian of the healers. You are capable of great things on earth as a healer and as a light for others to follow. But to do this, you must burn brightly, to throw light into the shadows of your world. You give a great deal to others, but you must make time for you. Your energy tank also requires recharging and resting, lest you too will become depleted. Make time to meditate, rejuvenate, to rest, and above all, laugh. You may love your work, but it does not define you as a person. You also need time to be you. It reminds us not to take ourselves, our work, or life too seriously, for we risk becoming pompous and forgetting that we are just one cog in a great wheel of life. You're welcome, Elaine. So all these dragons, this dragon flew into, and he's got sun on his back. This one has, oh God, what do I want to call this? I know there's a word for it. Staff. I want you to imagine that you're standing in front of this dragon. Just allow it to be whatever it is. Does not matter what you see to see the healer dragon as. And one of your guides is standing next to it. Your guide welcomes you, and in him or hers right hand, there's a staff. This staff is as tall as your guide is, or at least measured to your height. Some of your guides may be taller than you. This staff has a symbol on it. It's near the top. And at the top is a crystal ball, if you will. It may not be crystal. It could be whatever stone your higher self feels most connected to, or that you or he or she feels you may connect to. Dragon is saying again, if anyone else chose any other numbers, they too can participate in this if they feel called to. Your guide is now going to gesture to you to take the staff. Can you? Dragon is saying, don't let your prejudgment of it stop you. We're not handing this to you blindly. We will share what you're supposed to do with it. So don't worry about that, and don't let that be the resistance as to why you don't take the staff. This is about trust. It's an invitation for us to help you remember what it is that you're supposed to be doing from a healing aspect. You could be doing energy work, or you may just be getting people to laugh, to see themselves as a soul who lives inside a body. Could be planting seeds. Don't let the possibility or the enormity of it scare you. That's not who you are. You're feeling resistance, just lean into it. Allow yourself to experience it and feel really what is preventing you from taking it. If you've taken it from your guide, if not, your guide is going to place it in front of you, and he or she just wants you to put your hand around it so you can feel the energy of it in your hand. And the staff can feel your energy. This staff is not foreign to you. You've had this in other lifetimes. It is a key to opening your spiritual gifts, your knowledge. It's an initiation into remembering your own source, to remembering it all. One step. You don't have to do anything. You just have to agree to be open to allowing me, the healing dragon, and your guide help you remember. As you allow your hand to wrap around that staff, you feel the staff come alive in your hand. Maybe you can feel the energy running in the staff. And that beautiful stone on the top lights up as your prana, life force, lights it up. Can you feel the energy of that staff? Can you feel the energy of it in your body? As it is awakening something deep inside of you forgotten. Allow yourself to play with this. You're not all in right now. It's okay. You can come back here at any time and I can guide you through this. Just one little thing before we go. Know that what you may remember about yourself or what you can do may not be like anything else that is experienced in this world. And I ask you just not to be afraid of it, to allow it to unfold naturally, and know those first steps of it unfolding will fit perfectly in the world you surround yourself with now, allowing yourself to grow with confidence that everything's going to be okay as it evolves further. Okay. You're welcome, Eileen. And then the last card, I know some of you picked this, and I feel like this is for all of us again, like all three cards, right? Emergence. This is the energy of the weekend. We're emerging. So I'm just going to channel him because I can just tell the energy. Water first. I'm hearing water first. Okay, water first. Got it. Again, I think this is for all of us. Because he's standing here and he's got torches. I think like in the olden days, the torches. And he's handing one to each of us. He's saying, these torches will help you burn through what prevents you from being able to see the own flame that burns within your own heart. As you move through the energy of this month and the next month, you're burning away the veils and the spider webs and the smoke screens that prevent you from knowing your own heart, your own soul. As you use this torch as a way for you to see clearly where you're going as you work through these veils and smoke screens, allow that flame that I give you to help you through the way, to know you're not alone in the darkness, to know that you're not alone in the shadows, that the big spiders and the spider webs you've tangled yourself in can't harm you in the light. I am there with you, guiding you to emerge from this dark shadow that you find yourself in and may have found yourself in for lifetimes. I'm here guiding you to the exit, the exiting of the old into the new, as you emerge as a new, whole being. Even if you don't find yourself lost in the maze of the shadows that seem to shift and change as you shift and change, know that there is a way out. I invite you to allow me to show you how to get out of here, how to make it through. Allow my flame, which I ignited your torch with, guide you through the maze for you to work through the root stuff so you can burn the big trees away and the spider webs, the cores, the deep hidden shadows and veils within you that you may not want to see. Your higher self may not even want to see, but you must. Let me show you. You don't have to wander aimlessly hoping that you'll trip over the next thing that you need to pull so that you can climb the next step. Let me show you. Let me be your guide. Let me show you how much easier it can be if you just allow me to show you the way. You may have felt to this point that trying to figure out how to get to the end point and what you need to pull and how you need to do it feels daunting. Maybe sometimes you even felt lost, and know that you won't be alone in that. Many souls have felt lost in the maze, trying to figure out how to escape the lower density you into the higher density you. So take my torch. I offer it to you. Will you accept my help? And I will show you the pieces and trails and breadcrumbs that need to be cleared to have the biggest impact on your transformation. In my hopes that you'll get there sooner, maybe have more motivation and inspiration to keep going. As when you get stuck or you feel alone or lost, you lose the motivation to keep going. And unlike you yet, I know who you become after. And I'm fully invested in helping you get there because it's beautiful. And I want you to shine. I want you to see yourself shine as the beautiful diamond you are. Okay. So we're good for tonight. I thought it would be short. Haha, that's funny. So thank you for being on tonight. If you enjoyed this, please like the video. It helps me with YouTube. And I will see you next week. Bye for now. Good luck, everyone, this weekend. Be courageous and brave. We're going to get through this. Good night. Good night. Good night.